What's up, everybody? Welcome to PixelPlay Sidequests, your bonus content here every Friday on the YouTube channel. My name is Adam, aka CS Radical, joined as always, Kaylan, Jin, and Chris. Chris, it's a rare day today. It's a rare day today. You have a review. It's not just me. It's like Kaylan, he's not going to have another one for like 6 months anyway, so we got time. But Chris, you finally cleared something out of your backlog that you can actually talk about that isn't like a game that was made in 1983.
Yeah, no, I usually beat older games. I'm usually very behind, and it is backlog related.
Yeah,
for
like
sure.
if we had like a whole other separate program, we could do Chris's Steam Deck, like Steam Deck. I don't know what the fucking thing we would call it, but it would literally just be you talking about games that you finished like 15 years ago and then replayed recently on the Steam Deck and finished it again.
Yeah, and it'll always be Chrono Trigger. Let's be honest.
I mean, I don't think anybody would be that surprised. We only talk about how much you want one every other month, it seems.
Yes, we do. But yeah, I did actually play through, and I've played a lot of Balatro. To say like I beat Balatro is kind of like not something you can really say. There is no like definitive end. But yeah, I do have a review for the poker roguelike, which is a very interesting thing that I never thought I would say. So I guess I'll just kind of hop right into the review. So the premise of this game is not what I was expecting, and I think a lot of people don't know what the actual premise of the game itself is. A lot of people see the images and stuff of the game and they think like, oh, it's poker, or it's a casino game, something along those lines. And it is not. It is a part of it. If you understand the concept of poker, you'll be able to hop into this, and then you will soon realize that the game goes far beyond that. Because again, like I said, it's a poker roguelike. And when I say roguelike, that's the concept where you start a run, you try and get to the end, and if you fail, you have to start all over again. So the premise of this specific game and these two genres mixing there's 24 rounds of poker that you're going to play. You're not playing against an opponent. You're actually just playing for points. So you would go in, you would play a hand like a flush or something along those lines, and each different hand is worth different points. And the whole idea is that in round one, you have 300 points you need to get to. If you can get to that 300 points, you pass round one, you get to go to the next round. But the points needed, which they call chips in the game, like poker chips, starts to go up like exponentially. For example, the last round you need, the round 24, is 100,000 points that you need to get. But the thing is that when you're playing the game, it's the same rules every time you play. You get 4 hands, meaning you get to play 4 poker hands. You get the points from those 4 hands. You start with 4 discards where you can like give 5 cards back and then get given 5 new cards from your deck. But still, in the end, you can really only play 4 poker hands to get these points. And each, like I said, like different poker hand that you play is worth certain points. So as you can, if anybody watching obviously the screen right now, not just listening off your phone, you'll actually see that there was a 2 pair on there and it was worth, I think it was 20 points with a 2 times multiplier. That means if you play 2 pair, you're going to get 20 points. Plus, then the points will go up for each card you use. That way, if you use, say, 2 kings and 2 queens, you get an extra 40 points because each card is worth 10. Where if you did 2 pairs with 2 3s and 2 2s, you're only going to get 10 points total because the 2 3s adds up to 6 and the 2 2s add up to 4. So you take those points, you add it to the points the hand is worth, and then there's a multiplier that each hand has, and it will like obviously double or triple or whatever your points. So if you were to go for a hand and say play a flush, you could actually end up, first round, you need 300 points. You might be able to play 1 or 2 flushes, and you're great because you can play all 5 cards. The flush is worth, like, say, 40 points with a multiplier of 3. Normally, that would bring you up to 120, but it adds up the value of all the cards. You could end up going from that 40 or whatever points up to 90 because if you played 5 cards worth, like, 10 each or a 9 and an ace where it's 11 and 9, all of a sudden, you're, like, almost at that 300 points. Play 1 more hand. You've done it. You've passed the first round, which seems simple. But like I said, the first round you need 300 points. The last round you need 100,000, which is impossible to do with what rules I just gave everybody, right? It's only 4 hands. You play those same 4 hands. It's not like in the final round, you get to play 25 rounds of poker. You still get to put down those 4 hands and hopefully reach the points you need. The amazing part, which is the roguelike that comes in after, is that as soon as you beat a round, you get given some money. It depends on the round, and it's between $5 and like $10 at most. And then you go to the shop where the very roguelike part comes into it. There's 4 different types of cards you can buy that starts to affect your deck in different ways. The first one, the most simple, is your standard cards. You can buy a booster pack, which will have like 3 to 5 normal cards that you can throw into your deck. You can get extra diamonds or hearts or whatever it is. That's pretty standard. The other 3 sets of cards, though, are really where this game starts to show like, hey, this isn't just poker. This is a whole other thing. There's the Joker cards, which I think the game is most known for because they're featured like in the thumbnail. And it's like, obviously, there's a lot of different Joker artwork and stuff. The Jokers are cards you can buy, and they range from like $3 to $7, and they have a different effect on your hand. So one Joker you could buy would be like plus 80 points to any hand you play if it's a flush. And then another Joker you'd be able to buy would be maybe like for every diamond card you play, your multiplier will go up by 3. And you can kind of already see that if you could have multiple Jokers, some of those would work together really well. You could get that flush Joker that gives you extra 80 points and that Joker that adds 3 to your multiplier if you have diamonds, if then you aim for your run to always be a flush of 5 diamond cards. And that's kind of the premise of where you realize this isn't normal poker. This is you trying to build a very specific deck to add the points, add the multipliers, and that kind of stuff on top of what you're already playing, so that that hand that was worth only 300 points will now hopefully get to like 25,000 or 50,000 so you can survive that final round of 100,000 points. Now that would be simple enough if there wasn't also 2 other types of cards that you could buy in the shop. There's arcane cards where when you purchase those, which again, it's like a booster pack and it'll give you 3 and you have to pick only 1 of the cards in the booster pack. One would be like destroy 2 cards. So if you're going for a diamond flush, pack here, then you could erase 2 spades or something. Like get rid of some other cards you don't actually want to show up in your deck because you're just aiming for diamonds. Another Arcana card could be that it converts any 3 cards and it changes their suit to diamonds. So you might want to use that one because now all of a sudden you grab the other 3 aces in your deck, you make them all diamonds. Now you have 4 aces that are all diamonds. Now that helps with your chances of always running a diamond flush run. That'll be the hand you go for. That's one other type of card. And then there's a final one, which are these celestial cards where they're different planets. And each planet will permanently increase the default points and multiplier of a specific hand. So if you were to buy, I've done a lot of flush runs, for example. There's one that is a Jupiter. When you use the Jupiter card, it will increase, say, the points for the default points for flush by 15 points, and the multiplier will go up by 2. So now the default starting points for flush will permanently be increased to like 55 points and a multiplier of 4, already helping you get closer to those points. But at the end of every round, you only make like $5 to $10. You're given 2 cards you can buy outright for like $3 to $7 each, or booster packs, which you don't know what will be in there, but you get to pick one. So now it's like, do I want to buy a Joker, which helps? Do I want to open the Celestial pack to hopefully increase the permanent base points and multiplier of that specific card hand?
Is it guaranteed that if you open one of those, you get one, or is it like a chance?
You're guaranteed to get one. Yes.
Okay.
You literally, when you look at the booster pack, it will say, like there'll be the Buffoon pack, I think is hilarious. It's the Joker booster pack, but there's 2 Jokers and you only get to pick one. They both might suck, or they both might be really good, but you still only get to have one. The good thing is if you buy a card or you open a booster pack and you get a card you didn't really like it, you can sell it for $1. Like you can get $1 back, but it's not enough to then go and buy a different booster pack or another card. It'll just help you get like a little bit of your money back. When it comes to the Celestial and Arcane cards, they're like one and done. You use it, it permanently increases the points in the multiplier, or it changes 3 cards to diamonds or whatever it is, they're gone. The Joker cards, you actually can hold up to 5 of them. And if you see a better card that makes more sense, you can sell one of your 5 Joker cards and replace it with that new one. So the Joker cards, you're constantly putting them in, taking them out, trying to build the perfect deck or the perfect strategy so that you can survive these 24 rounds. Now, also, that sounds, again, like a lot of RNG and a lot of randomness that hopefully it'll be a good set. Not only that, every third round, you actually go against what's called the boss blind. There's not an actual boss or anything like that, but that round will have some sort of a debuff against you. And the debuff is randomized. So it might be all club cards are debuffed, cannot be used in any hand. So if you had been building a deck which was purely like club cards for flushes or straights or something, or a straight flush, you're screwed, because now when you hit that boss, now your run is dead because what you've been building is now not allowed to be played in that one round. It could be that you go in and it's like normally you need. I actually had one where it was the final round for the 100,000 points, and the debuff against me was triple chips required to win. So it went from 100,000 points to 300,000 points. And I had been building for the whole game. I was on the final round. I'm like, I'm going to do this. I get about 30,000 points per flush that I play. I get to play 4 of them with 4 discards. I'll be fine. You know, I should be able to do it. And most of my card was diamonds or something anyways. But then it went up to 300,000 and I was still only getting 25 or 30 or whatever thousand points per thing. I still only got to 120,000 points and ended up failing just because of that one debuff in the end. So it really is a lot of RNG and hitting the every third level. But it is, oh my gosh, it is super addicting and super fun. I will say that.
So I have 2 questions for you, because you're talking about like these random number generator kind of things, and like something like hit 300,000. Like, does it have a lot of moments where it feels like, oh man, this is bullshit and like it's not fair?
It never feels unfair, but I've definitely had it where it seems like my run's going fine. You know, it's like 300 points for the first round, 600 points for the second round, 1,000 points for the third one. And I'm constantly just playing flushes. I've got a couple jokers I've been able to afford, because it's slowly you build up, obviously, these joker cards and stuff. And I seem fine. But then I'm on, you know, round 14 or 15. I'm well into it. And all of a sudden I play a flush, and the amount of points I'm getting is still only like 7,000 or 8,000. And I'm getting to the point where if I play that 4 times, I'm not going to be able to win. Like, I'm just going to be shy of those points. Like, I'm just behind. And it's when you realize that whatever jokers you've been holding on to or whatever strategy you're doing, it's not going to get you to the end. So you'll try, but then you'll fail, and then it's going to kick you right back to the beginning.
Okay.
But I will admit... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
I was just going to say, it's never felt unfair, to answer that part of your question. It's never felt like that. It's more like, damn it, whatever jokers I ended up with, they weren't enough. Or whatever cards I chose to buy and skipped the other ones, I probably shouldn't have skipped those other ones, because they may have got me there and these ones didn't.
Okay. Another question came up, so I've got 2 more. How long does a run take to go from like the start of a run to the final boss
For
battle?
victory, I would say it's half an hour.
Okay.
About, depending how long you want to sit in that store. I've sat in that store for like 10 minutes, like really stuck on what to decide on. But if you just like know what you're looking for, you quickly check, like you get really good at the game, and knowing what to look for, not with your runs. It's about half an hour if you were to make it all the way. Some runs I've had where I literally died on the 3rd round because I only need 1,000 points, but the debuff totally just screwed me right out of the gates, and I played for 6 minutes, 4 minutes.
Yeah, so I ask, like, you're not like getting to the final round and it's like get 300,000 points, and you're like, oh man, I've just wasted 2 hours or 3 hours.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, you may have wasted half an hour, and wasted to me, I've never once felt like that was unfair or that was a waste of my time. I will 100% admit that I don't know if it's just the music or the game loop or just like, I would describe this game as the most stereotypical one more round game where you're having a good time. You try your round, it's 1:30 in the morning, you fail like on round 18 out of 24, and you're like, no, one more attempt, just one more attempt, I can do this. And then you try and you fail, or it works. Yeah, it's definitely the one more round game for sure. Absolutely.
Cool. And like, can you save your progress within a round, or like
Absolutely
once
not.
you start, okay.
Once you start, you can exit. It's not like
Mhm.
you can start a new round also right away if you've realized like, yeah, I've had a really bad RNG. I'm like on round 10 and I'm just barely making it by, and I know I'm not going to be able to do this one. You can hit start new round and just begin again from the beginning in like 2 seconds. But there doesn't seem to be like a save and come back.
I'm
The
assuming
Steam
because it's
Deck,
such a short run that it doesn't really need
such
to.
a short run.
Yeah.
Unless it's a feature in there and I just haven't searched for it. I don't remember seeing it at all. But I mean, it is available on the Steam Deck, and I used to be on the Switch. I don't know if it's still there. Whenever I needed to, I could suspend my Steam Deck and then unsuspend it and come back, and it's still just sitting there where I left off. And if it is on console, it would be the same thing. So you could always suspend out while you're
it's
sitting
the thing
there.
of if you turn the game off, it's not gonna. There's not like a save option.
Yeah, but it is very, very short. Yeah,
it's definitely been on my wish list. It's just a matter of getting around to that amongst the other things that I'm still trying to play through. I mean, granted, I took a ton of stuff off, as I said earlier on the show last Wednesday. That I took a good chunk of things off, so it leaves some openings down the road.
I've got
yes,
it right now in my cart. I'm debating to pull the trigger. I think I'm going to do it.
you have to. You have to. And I will explain one big part here. The game is so good at also like still giving you rewards, because there's nothing permanent that carries over to your next run. When you start fresh, it's always a start fresh, but the game will be like, hey, you had over 30 spades in your deck. Here is a new Joker card that you've unlocked that might appear in the store going forward. And it'll be like every time you play a spade, there's a 1 in 2 chance that it'll add 10 to your multiplier or something like that. So it sees kind of what strategies you are doing, and it actually rewards you for those ones by unlocking jokers and stuff that'll appear in the store specifically related to what you were doing. Not only that, they start to reward you with decks. So like what deck you're going to choose. It's just like the color of the cards. But like if you choose the red deck, you get not 4 hands you get to play every round, you get 5. If you choose the blue deck, you don't get 4 times that you can discard up to 5 cards. You get 5 times you can discard up to 5 cards. There's a black deck, which doesn't let you hold 5 jokers. It lets you hold 6. So you can start to unlock those too. And you're like, oh, I was doing my run. It wasn't going good with the blue deck, but that black deck, that extra joker, that may really, really help. Maybe I'll go with that. So you start getting rewarded with new things unlocking in the store, and new decks that you can try your run with and everything like that. And I will tell you, once you win, you feel godlike. You feel like a poker roguelike god. One run I had on the weekend, I was doing horrible. I was using the black deck where you get an extra joker. I'm like, maybe this is my strategy. I need that extra joker. I was getting like halfway through my rounds and I would fail. That's actually what I was doing when I hit that final one where I would have won if it stayed at the 100,000, but it went up to 300. I was like, no, one more round. So I finally loaded up, and all of a sudden I start getting like really good cards, because the jokers also have common, uncommon, rare, legendary, foil, where they'll actually be like shiny, like you got a shiny card. Gives you that whole like opening booster packs and getting the special cards feeling too. I started to get multiplier after multiplier after multiplier, that in my final round, I played one set of diamond flush cards. That's why I was using that as an example. It's my most recent one. My one hand was worth 2.9 million chips. So I needed 100,000. I dropped one hand. The multipliers made it go up to 2.9 million. I felt like the greatest poker player in the world. I was debating moving to Vegas. It was insane. There was just so many things. No, not really. But it felt so good to attempt it. Like I'd say 10 times. And then on my 11th, I got that crazy good RNG and like just destroyed the actual game. And then once you win after the 8th, it's each round, there's like 8 tiers, because every third one it's a boss or whatever. It's 24 rounds. After the 24th round, you can keep playing. It does say, do you want to keep playing in endless mode and see how far you can go, or do you want to start a new run? But I've been going through. It keeps track of when you actually beat a run with which deck. So I beaten the game once with the red deck, once with the blue deck, once with the black deck, etc. And I think I've won a total of 6 times in about 18 hours, which is a lot that I've only owned this game for like 4 or 5 days, and I'm like 18 hours of just constantly playing cards and everything. But yeah, like it's not like you won't win. This isn't one of those games where you play for 20 hours and you finally get your first win. You'll play for 3 hours and then finally get your first win. Then you feel more comfortable with your strategy. And then another hour later, after a few more attempts, you get your second win. And it keeps going from there and there and there and there. But yeah, I honestly would give this game a 6 out of 6 for what it is. For anybody who's looking to play a simple card game that isn't just like, you know, playing poker against another player and like who wins, like actually building a strategy of like, I'm going to always play diamond flushes over and over and over and just build my deck around that. For a game that's, excuse me, like I think under $20 or right around 20 Canadian
Like,
dollars.
look at the sale right now. It's $17 Canadian.
Yeah. And I picked it up on the Steam summer sale, just like a little bit off there. But I think normal price, it's like around 20 or something like that.
Yeah, it's $20 on PlayStation right now.
Oh, it is on PlayStation?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I hadn't looked up. I just had read that it was on Switch, but because they had to change the rating on it because of the Joker cards and the way they looked or something like that. I don't know. There was something going on where they changed the age rating and it got delisted briefly. I don't know if it's back on there now, but I think, it is on everything. Yeah, I highly suggest this game. It is so addictive. The music even in it is like addictive for a while, but it's the perfect game where you can also just turn off the sound and listen to your own music or a podcast or something, because you're just playing cards, but also in like one more round kind of idea. It is such an addictive, fun game, and I completely understand the hype. I bought 6 games in the Steam Summer Sale. I played 2 of them before I got to Balatro, and I have not played anything since I purchased this game. It's taken all my time. Like I've been sitting outside in the sun on the Steam Deck, on the couch, supposed to be focusing on the new episode of Game of Thrones. Can't do that. Playing Balatro. Like it is. The only warning I do give people is just how addictive it can be to just try and get to that next round. Yeah.
Well, He says one more round, but that sounds like that was one more review, as we had Balatro here from Chris. That's going to do it for this episode of Sidequests. So obviously you specifically watching here on YouTube, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more content. Keep in mind, Mondays, Retro Rando, when I don't forget to do them. Wednesdays, the podcast, the main show, and then, of course, every Friday here is the side quest. Every one of those come up at noon Eastern. Don't forget at the bottom of your screen there, the link tree right there where it links to our Discord, link to our socials, all that fine stuff. But with that being said, that's going to do it for us on this edition of SideQuest. We will see you whenever we see you guys next here on the channel. Take care. Bye-bye for now.